seconds and counting.
Hey, what's good, guys? Clutch and Essam here, back in another video. And for today's video, I'm talking about the Houston Texans. And as we know, today was OTAs, and this particular day was open to the media. And I believe this was only like the second or third day that one of the OTA sessions were open to the media. And I mean, it's kind of disappointing. I mean, obviously as fans, we want to see as much as we can. We want to see as much of the rookies as we can. Stroud, Anderson, Tank Dell. We want to see all of these guys on the field. But I mean, I guess it's better. They need to be practice more, I guess, behind closed doors, as in like no cameras and stuff. Do more actual practice work. But yeah, for today's OTAs, they were open, and I mean, there were some pretty good things that came out of it today. There's some pretty good quotes, some pretty good clips, and a lot of those clips are on Twitter if y'all want to go see them. But pretty much what I'm going to be talking about today is, like, I guess, like, the highlights, the overview of what happened today, like, the good and the bad. There really wasn't much bad, I mean, based on what I've seen, unless there's tweets that I haven't really seen. But I think I've went over almost every tweet, like read over them. And I'm just going to go like what I think about it, in my opinion and whatnot. But from DJ Bienemy, at DJ BIENAIME on Twitter, he's a reporter for ESPN. He covers the Texans. And he put out a Texans OTA observations. And for his first bullet point, he said, rookie quarterback C.J. Stroud ran with the ones today. And I think that's probably the most important thing, or the most important outcome from today's OTAs. I mean, sure, everything else is cool, but seeing C.J. Stroud finally start to get those QB1 reps, I mean, that's pretty important. He could have been getting QB1 OTA reps earlier like maybe last week or something, because I mean, the media was closed to the training sessions. So for all we know, he was getting QB1 reps last week as well. It's just today's the first day that we're hearing about it because the media was there. So maybe this isn't the first time he's getting QB1 reps, but I mean, the most important thing is that he's now starting to get them. And he's looking good during those QB reps. Apparently, he had a few deep connections during team and 7-on-7s, and he had one really good bomb to Nico Collins. He says it was 40 yards. So, I mean, that's something different that we didn't really see last year with Davis Mills. Last year, I'm not sure if it was just the play calling or Davis Mills, but for whatever reason, the offense in general was just hesitant to go deep, really take any shots. And it looks like next year is going to be a lot different, especially with the quarterback who isn't afraid to show his arm talent, isn't afraid to throw balls downfield and do it accurately. And it looks like he's already starting to do that in training, or not training camp, in OTAs, by starting to throw deep, starting to throw more consistent deep balls. And it's pretty good for Nico Collins as well. I think for me, the best player from today, from what the reports show, was Nico Collins. He made some good catches. He has some good connections with C.J. Stroud. And it looks like he's just heavily involved. And that's great to see from a year 3 wide receiver. And I mean, he hasn't shown too much yet. I mean, really anything. I mean, he's been hurt for a good part of it. He's been dealing with the inconsistent quarterback for part of it. So, I mean, to see him finally start to pick up with what seems to be a really good quarterback, I mean, it's pretty good to see. Hopefully, he takes a massive jump this year. If he can at least be a wide receiver 2 for us at some point, I feel like that's great. I mean, like a consistent wide receiver 2. He's probably going to be wide receiver 2 for us this year, but I mean like a consistent guy for years to come. If you can at the least be a wide receiver 2 for us, I feel like that's a really good win. I mean, getting him in the 3rd round, he did have a long, I guess, progression time. Like, he didn't come into the league good right away. I mean, again, it's not all of his fault. He did have to deal with QB inconsistency and then injuries and whatnot. But yeah, starting to look like he's picking up with C.J. Stroud. And then he also put that during a 2-minute drill, C.J. Stroud drove the offense into field goal range, and Fairbairn nailed it. So that's also really good to see. With this team, I feel like we may be seeing a lot of that certain situation. I mean, the defense looks pretty good. It's been pretty raved about during OTAs. They added a lot of key players. with being Will Anderson. Derek Stingley's getting more acclimated to the defense and healthy again. Jalen Petrie, same thing. Adding Jimmy Ward, adding guys like that. This defense looks like it's going to be really, really good. Has potential to be top 15 or at least in the top half of the league this year. And I feel like that defense is going to give us chances to be in one-score games late in games. And I feel like practicing 2-minute drills, especially with this team, is going to be really, really important. Get CJ Stroud as many reps as possible because, he really didn't have to do a lot of that at Ohio State. At Ohio State, by the end of the game, he was pretty much already out of the game. They have the backup quarterback in because they're beating the other team so badly. So CJ Stroud really didn't get too many reps in college of being down and having to come back late in games. So starting to do that early in OTAs, and for him to start showing that he can do it, obviously it's just one time. We don't know how the other attempts went, but from the certain attempts, it looks like he did really good. He drove the offense into field goal range. I'm guessing they started at the 25-yard line and then took it all the way to maybe the 30 or something like that to give Fairbairn a shot at a field goal. So that's one thing that we really need to be, not cautious on, but need to pay attention to, because this defense, I feel like it will keep us in one-score games or give us chances to come back late in games. And CJ Stroud on the offense is going to have to be ready, especially with a lot of youth, a lot of young players, rookies, and experienced guys on this offense. It's going to be really important. Get them as much chemistry as they can, especially between CJ Stroud and Juice Scruggs, the quarterback in the center. That's going to be one of the more important things, too. You don't want to mess up on a snap count. You don't want to have to get a false start, delay of game, anything like that. Fumble a snap because you didn't have the timing down. You don't want any of that to happen, especially in a 2-minute drill, let alone in the game, but especially in a 2-minute drill. You don't want that to happen. So I feel like that's also very, very important. Get that connection down. And it's important for Tank Dell, who's probably going to be our slot receiver, or at least share slot receiver duties with John Mechie. So it's important for him to... Apparently, he had another good day. He had some good catches on the sideline, showed more of his explosiveness. Frank Ross had something to say about him. Let's see. He said that special teams coach Frank Ross, he's got God-given athleticism, he's got quickness, and just pretty much what we already know. He's a good football player, very electrifying, can do pretty much anything on the field, can play receiver, can run the ball, can return punts, even return kicks. He's a do-it-all type of weapon for a team. So that's also good to see. There was a clip of Will Anderson going through a little drill posted by the Houston Texans official media account. That was also cool to see. Players who didn't practice: Laramie Tunsil, Steven Nelson, John Mechie. I believe those are the only players. Might have been a couple others. I think Thomas Booker's hurt, so he didn't practice as well. May have been another couple of players, but as far as I know, those are the players that didn't practice today. Dalton Schultz actually was there in attendance, so that's pretty cool to see. See him getting connections with C.J. Stroud and Davis Mills and all of the quarterbacks there. Get him acclimated to the offense. It's a little bit of a different offense that he ran in Dallas. It's going to be a different offense here. So he needs to get acclimated as soon as possible, especially with the rookie quarterback. Get some connection. I'm sure they've been working outside of practice. I'm sure they have little throwing sessions. We would always see that with Davis Mills in the years prior. He would have set up special throwing sessions with Brandon Cooks, Jordan Akins, Brevin Jordan. He would invite them all out. So I'm sure CJ Stroud's doing the same thing for all of his weapons, all of his receivers. So that's also cool to see. But yeah, it's pretty much it. There wasn't much else. Brooks Cabina, he also said that Texans defense had it mostly today during 11-on-11s. Jalen Petrie had a swift pass breakup on Nico Collins, and CJ Stroud fit tight passes to Nico Collins as well. So, it seems like it was going back and forth. The Texans defense, from that quote, it seems like the Texans defense pretty much controlled most of the day. And, when you're playing a rookie quarterback, I would expect that, especially from a defense that has a couple of veterans. Nothing crazy. They do have Jimmy Ward, Christian Kirksey, guys like that. So, when you have veterans like that, they should be able to call out the defense and be able to confuse the rookie quarterback a little bit. But to see C.J. Stroud still be able to be accurate with the ball, that's also very good to see. And the defensive coordinator, Matt Burke, he has something to say about C.J. Stroud. And he said right after practice, C.J. Stroud went up to him, asked him about a specific defense that he was running because he was a little bit confused by it or didn't really see it that much. So, that's really great to see as well, showing that C.J. Stroud is eager to learn, wants to learn. That's all you want from your rookie quarterback. You want to see him be excited to learn, want to see him have that work ethic. And I mean, there was no question about it really ever. I mean, he's always been a hard worker, always had to work for everything he has. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. Not really anything major, not any other major points. There is a lot of clips on Twitter if you want to go check them out. Some by Brooks Cabina, some by Aaron Wilson, DJ Bienemy, guys like that. So, I mean, yeah, there's some clips there if you want to go see them. But, I mean, that's pretty much it. It's been Clutch City Entertainment, and I hope you guys have a good day. Peace.